Hello friends, we are going to look at West Trinidad, a place called Cumberland Hill. That's Fort George, and further up, if you drive further up, but you need a 4x4, you can go to the Cumberland Hill Tower. It's a station up there, very tall antennas that broadcast for, I believe, TV and radio and whatever other communications that are needed. Now this is probably the second highest point on Cumberland Hill. There's a higher point, but that is a restricted area. We drove up there first, but the security guard told us that it was restricted. However, they told us that we could come up on this side. So here we are. And anytime you are around an area and you see birds flying around like this, roosting and resting, they are indeed high up. There isn't anything further to go for them to sit and relax on, so you know you're at the highest point. Now this particular tower seemed to be doing something. We could hear, whatever machinery or electrical system hum, the hum of it here. So although it looks like if it's abandoned, it's not. It is doing something. However, these birds have made good use of it, so when we were up here, there was a strong scent of bird poo. But that isn't too bad because the view is breathtaking. Right now I'm looking at Diego Martin and Pitti Valley. And that's it right there below. These are scavenger birds. So if I were to stand around, sit around for long enough, they would probably come to see if I would make a tasty meal. Now beyond the tower is this little path or trail. I don't know if it was intended or if it just happened to be like this. It is quite dangerous. You see here, the soil is a bit loose. Those ferns tend to make you think it's latched on to dry, hard ground, but it's not. Sort of latches on to other dry bush and stuff, and so they can come off easily. So if you were to pull or hang on them, you would find yourself skating on the mountain. I don't know if you could go further on this little hike. I didn't see a clear path anywhere. But this was all about where I was about to go. You can see the other end of Cumberland Hill there and the towers I was talking about. So if you ever came up here, this would be nice to see, but be very careful. There aren't any rails. If you slip and fall, you'll be going down the mountain very fast. So you gotta know what you're doing. Not a place for playing around or trying to do your stunt skills. Now it's interesting how that tree, the top of it, has just been taken out. I don't know if the birds did that. Only if the lower end of the tree, the branches and the leaves exist. But even so, the tree itself looks like if it's in need of something or dying. I don't know if it's all the bird messing that has gradually caused it to wither away in that way. But I thought it was interesting to look at. Also interesting to look at was that spider. Who knows about spiders? Was that poisonous? Now I'll be showing you different bits and pieces of footage I picked up from being up here. I took turns showing my sons different areas around, and in doing so picked up little bits and pieces here that I wanted to show you. This is the actual road you would come up here. So you would leave asphalt and it's a dirt road, and it does take some doing, huh? It's not easy. You better to come up with a 4x4 and some all-terrain tires, and definitely not when it's raining, it'll be even worse. But the view is definitely worth it. I know from Fort George, if you saw my Fort George video, you would see how great the view is. But unfortunately, the Fort George view, you only see Port of Spain and the west coastline. Being up here allows you to see in various directions. There's a lot of vegetation, different vegetation up here too. So I came back up on this trail and I'm showing one of my sons how to go, keeping on the left while they walk on the right. Now I don't know if you picked it up, but you can see those cobos. That's the name of that bird, that blackbird, the scavenger bird on the left, hanging out and basically watching what I'm doing. Even though I'm far away, I'm making them nervous. I guess they're not used to seeing people up here. Right below there, that's Pity Valley. And the road that's dissecting down there, I believe that would either be the highway or, yeah, I think that's the highway. Not sure. One of the coolest things about being up here is just feeling the light breeze and the quiet. Sometimes you can't hear the echo of things down below where people are noisy, like if they beep their horn or something like that. You can't hear it. Occasionally I did hear a hawk or two, and it echoes. There it is. Did you hear it? That was the sound of one. There it is again. It may sound like somebody screaming, but it's not. It's a bird. And there they are flying around. That is really cool to look at, hearing them make that song and flying there. You could spend hours up here looking at that. By the way, if you ever visit Fort George, the road that takes you to Fort George, if you continue going up, that road is what will lead you to up here. I don't think a lot of people know about going up here, and probably with good reason. And we didn't encounter anybody else up here, and as you know, I like it that way because it enables me to record without having to worry about other people making a racket or getting in the view. And I mean, that's just one end, but I could spend a lot of time looking at the other end as well. I mean, look at the clouds, look at the mountains. Almost has that angelic look. It's a way of seeing Trinidad that you would not have otherwise seen being on the flat. Now we left that area and we drove down Cumberland Hill, and this is another view. This would be just below Fort George. So that would be Cocoa Rate right there, where near the center of your screen where those condos are, those twin condos. And to your right will be West Moorings. And again, all here is just really quiet. A good place to come and meditate, I guess. Also, maybe to jog, or if you're an experienced cyclist, that would be a challenge to come up this mountain. The road is pretty good, so it's ideal for that. Even further down, getting closer to the flat, this is another view. On this side, we're looking at Woodbrook, St. James, and Long Circular. And you can even see Port of Spain in the distance. This is more or less the residential side of Fort George, Cumberland Hill. Lots of intricate streets here going up and down, and it surprisingly is quite crowded. Quite crowded in that, one house after the next. Very little green. That's the road that would take you up to Fort George. And you could see the tip of the mountain. We just passed it. That's where we were. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, it's free, and share.